Or just keep your truck somebody down the truck.
Any one of those things over there, Gary.
F-E-I-N. Doesn't matter.
That's nothing, right?
Is that mine? Oh, really?
Yeah, absolutely. If I can get one straight,
You want to find a kindergartner?
Turn over.
that's what we need.
Turn over and do it again, F-E-I-N.
F-E.
Put it in backwards and upside down.
Karen, just tell them save the paper.
Save a tree.
Killing trees.
Meeting's going to be over pretty soon.
Hello there, how are you?
Good. Do we have a copy of
That's
the
right.
agenda?
Yes.
There. Sorry, I misspelled your name.
Well, that's okay, I wasn't gonna correct you.
But you should.
No.
I'm telling you straight this time. There we go.
In case Larry forgot who I was.
Luke slipped in. Hello, Neil.
Hi, how are you, Denzel?
I'm well.
Good.
Did you get the gavel out or didn't you, Karen?
I didn't. What's up, Brian?
Hey, Brian.
Ball games all over now, Brian?
New season starts on Monday.
No, it does.
Initial planning module.
Yeah, it's fine.
This is for Brown subdivision we did last meeting.
Thought that crowd outside was for you guys.
Oh, boy.
I was like, whoa.
We would never draw a crowd like that.
Not that
You've been
important.
behaving.
Not that important.
I said, holy cow, what did they stir up? Wow.
Yeah, we'd have to do something pretty bad.
Maybe not.
Yeah, not
Telling you, when I pulled in, I'm like, what are we gonna do? Stand in the parking lot?
That's what I thought I was gonna have you understand.
I was thinking,
The stand, that takes two people.
that's right.
You run across another land mower, that was.
there's a smaller one out there, pool.
Over there.
Um,
10 feet.
no. Did it come? 10? 12, right? Look at the middle side. 17 foot. It's sitting up there, right in front. Looks like it was used for a show. Parts missing on that shower. But in the center of each gang, there are the rollers. Well, the rollers are off in the two wings, and that part of the deck is bent. So I don't know what the story is with them. If it was the same size as mine, I would have bought it apart. I'd have asked them what they wanted for it. It's the size, I don't know what, I can't imagine what.
I like it.
Parts off of it. I let people.
Judge, county
Drive 200 miles.
Yeah.
That can be
It's
tricky.
getting real, it's going anywhere from 25 to 50 cents.
Still has paint underneath.
Yeah. You can use what? I can't believe what he
Huh?
What he had asked.
Those sides, comes to a point to west point in front. Both them rollers are different, deck is bent back.
That's not done lock, that's just stop.
I wrecked mine. Same thing, almost the way I did it.
Planting trees, just trying to get that 25.
And all of a sudden it went crazy. Because I think their wings only hang on one bit. So they fresh one bit.
It's gonna be every tree.
It switches up to the bar on.
6:59, there we go. Just changed.
That's all, just one pin out there that guides them to outside.
Saplings this big. Getting on their way.
Ready, Karen?
Like that, just right.
Ready? Ready? Okay, we'll call the meeting to order with the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll start with public comments and comments regarding the agenda. So,
Rick Walsh, 186 Main Street, Hickory. My questions are just general and basic and policy and procedure. I'm just trying to nail down, when are deadlines for like the agenda? When do you get the agenda? What's your deadline for it? And then when can we get to see the agenda for the upcoming meeting?
you'd have to probably talk to Mary Ann, call in and talk to Mary Ann for the deadlines of,
It's not a policy, I mean, just off the top of your head, because I wanted to speak at a meeting, and it says, please do not construe my deadline to be on the agenda by 4 p.m. on Monday, the preceding Monday. So basically 4 p.m. on Monday for a Wednesday meeting. So you guys gotta have to have in stone some type of a deadline for the agenda. If she's telling me, for me to address a topic on the agenda, it's gotta be in by 4 o'clock on Monday.
to my knowledge, there's not any kind of policy for the deadline for an agenda. She has one that she typically puts together. If there's something that needs added at the last minute, but she likes to have it done, I know, a couple days ahead of time. So, like I said, that's a better answer is just call the township office and ask her how soon ahead you need to be on there.
Like I said, I wanted to speak on something and I got shut out. And it was 4 o'clock on Monday because, there's not even a reason, I just got shut out 4 o'clock on Monday. And I just don't understand how you don't, okay, let me ask you a different question. Say you look at the agenda and by 4 o'clock on Monday, you decide there's nothing on there that really interests you. Now you're saying something can get added to it. So if something gets added to it on Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, and we don't even know about it, yet you refer to us being able to access the agenda, and something regarding, say, the police will always be on the agenda, you won't try to push it on by, but yet there's no deadline for what and when it needs to be on. You can put something on after the fact, we don't know about it, the website's down, you can't access it, you don't know where to get it, the supervisor, the chairman of the supervisor doesn't know when the deadline is. Can you see the confusion here?
Sure, that's a good point, and maybe we can put something together so that everybody knows. But there isn't, to my knowledge, anything right now.
Well, then in that case, I think that there should never be a vote by the supervisors on something as important as, let's say, the police. It should be a referendum or something along those lines. I think you should at least commit to the people that you would never do that, since you don't have your ducks in a row to get information out there. That's just a suggestion.
Good suggestion.
I don't need my all 3 minutes, I'm good.
Okay. Paul?
Paul Batista, 28 Johnston Road. Just to kind of piggyback on what Rick said, I've asked in the past if we could do an email chain or something so that people who want to know what's going on in the township, we could email the agenda out, or we could email out special meetings and stuff. I think we're a pretty busy township, and I don't always have time to go and look at the public notices and see when the meetings are. So I think that's a voluntary thing where we sign up annually, that I can sign up and say, here's my email address, and I'm going to be on that mailing list. So I would go one step further so that we would know what meetings are coming up or going on.
I know we talked about that before when we were talking about putting a new website together. And I asked the other day about this website because it's frustrating me that it's taking so long. But I kind of saw the back door of it, and they're having to test everything, and there's a lot of information on that thing. So when it does come out, and they're hoping, I think they wanted to try to get it done by the end of June. But it's neat, and there's a lot of information. You can access a ton of stuff. And that may be one of the options that will be available to that. So believe me, I'm frustrated because of taking so long, but whenever it's going to be, when it's done, it's going to be a heck of a good source of information. So
while we're still in the planning stages, can we make sure that public notices are on there so we can look at any time, any day, that it's there? Or I would encourage, again, the email list, because now I don't have to go out to your website to find out when it is. You need 2 days, 3 days for public notice. Am I going to look every 15 minutes to see when you on your website when the public notice is? So I would suggest we go back to emails. The technology is already, we're already using emails, because all you got to do is put the list together, the address list together. And then I agree with you with the website further down the road, but you know, to me that's just something, as many special meetings that we have, public meetings we have, I just think it would be something that we should look into.
And once the address is in there, it's just hitting a button, sending it out.
Correct.
It's one list.
Right.
That might be functionality that the website can have. It's
As
without.
the first person who doesn't get an email that thought they should have, then it's a problem.
well, like I said, once it gets up and running, I'm sure there's going to be a million comments on it. So we give it that little bit of time, and then maybe we can tweak it from there.
99% maybe in the right direction, and 1% that just,
Right.
you know.
It's going to be far better than we've ever had before, from what I've seen. Now, I didn't get a play on it. I just got to look at it, so.
So 2 other points. Do we have an ordinance, and I tried to research this across to see if there was a law in Pennsylvania, and I think I'm finding out it's an ordinance that has to be adopted by the township or the borough, as far as we have an election coming up. So when are we allowed to put out election signs, and when are election signs have to be taken down?
That section is in the sign ordinance. I forget the chapter of it, but it's in there. And political signs are exempt. They're allowed to put up political signs. They just have to be taken down within 30 days after the election, I think it is. But it doesn't say how far in advance you can put them up. But political signs are exempt.
Is there any disciplinary action to leaving them up?
We've never had a problem with them. The 1 or 2 that gets astray that I see on the road after the election, I just throw in the back of the car and put them in.
So is Jesse's out too long, or is he just ahead of the game for the election?
Well, I'll wait till the election's over.
Game being the operative word.
I think we have an infraction in our township now, and it's been way overdue that we haven't taken any action on it. Come up south on Route 18, stop at the stop sign and look straight ahead. There's a large Jesse White sign. So, I mean, what's fair is fair.
I saw that today and I'm thinking,
I'll
why
take
is
it down
that?
tomorrow. I didn't notice it. My fault, I'll take it down.
Nothing against him, but it's, what's fair is fair.
The rest of them are all down. I agree.
And other signs I take down, fireworks signs, sighted medium signs, those kind of things.
Yeah, we buy houses signs.
Right.
Called one psychic medium and I said, you know why I'm calling? And she said, no. I said, "Then you're not a good one."
My third point is, and I don't know if we'll be able to hear it, but you have a motion here about resolution 2014-0 for Act 13. We're not able to ask questions at that point in time, so can you elaborate now a little bit more, unless you want to open it up to questions when you discuss that?
What that came from the county, and it's, what can happen is opposing any amendment to Act 13 of 2012 that would reduce the amount of allocation of unconventional gas well fees, Act 13 impact fees to the municipalities affected by the gas exploration activities. If the legislature adopt that impact fee statewide, then this goes away.
If they adopt a severance tax.
A severance tax.
So is it automatic, or is it part of the legislation that they write? And that's what's confusing
know if
me.
it's
What's the
automatic?
resolution?
I don't think we know.
Do we know what the resolution 2014 is? I mean,
I haven't seen it.
so how can we,
It's a form resolution, I think, that
Yeah.
the counties have been distributing.
The resolution states, there are several whereas statements, and then the resolution itself is that the Mount Pleasant Board of Supervisors hereby opposes any amendment to Act 13 of 2012 that would reduce the amount of allocation of Act 13 impact fees paid to townships affected by gas exploration activities.
The long and short of it is, we don't want the state to take monies away from the townships if that passes. And the township associations are gathering support for that.
So that's a statement them saying if you try and forward amendment, we're gonna affect
Right,
your money.
right.
In essence, you oppose a
Severance tax,
severance tax, you're in favor of.
the impact fee.
Keeping the, yeah, right.
Well, not necessarily, that depends upon the way the bill is written. If the bill is written to include a severance tax plus the impact fee as it exists, that'd be fine with me. I don't have any problem with that.
so you don't have a problem with increasing the impact tax, you just don't want it to be taken away?
I don't want it taken away from the
But an
municipalities.
increase that the state's proposing would be,
I don't know that the state has,
well, there is some
Anything.
legislation that they're looking at to increase.
I haven't seen it.
No,
Okay.
severance. The increase
Tax.
would be through a severance tax,
Severance
tax.
not the Act 13.
This resolution specifically opposes any amendment to Act 13 of 2012 that would reduce the amount or allocation of unconventional gas well fees, Act 13 impact fees, to municipalities affected by gas exploration activities. So this specifically is saying we still want to
So
have
my
that
point
money.
is for the rest of the public to understand that Act 13 is a good thing for our local municipalities. There's a lot of funds that come through that.
That's
That
a
if
big
it-
jump.
No.
Oh, good.
Act 13 impact fee is
No.
good for the
It's interesting.
Only
municipalities.
the one piece.
I'm missing what you're saying.
Act 13 impact fee is good for the municipalities, it has been.
It's
Yeah.
good for the municipality, right, and
Yeah.
that's, I just want to make sure that you're supporting that. That's, like I said, can't ask questions during the discussion. That's all.
We're supporting
That's-
keeping that allocation,
the impact.
the impact fee. That's what this is supporting.
But supporting only the impact fee, or if the severance tax comes, by saying keep the impact fee and don't change that, are you voting, like Brian Temple said, against, in essence, the severance tax? No, the way it's worded, it's to normalize it.
No, no, this is specific, it doesn't say anything about severance in here.
But that's not the way it's worded.
Right, this
This
is
is just supporting,
specific to Act 13
Keep it
impact
the
fees.
same.
keep it the same.
Yes. Lee?
Just like to thank you for mowing our banks, but I guess I shouldn't say banks. Is there a reason Georgie doesn't mow clean to the top of the banks?
You'd have to ask Bill.
You know, this is ridiculous. He mows along flat, half of Ridge Road, we mow our own back. But on the steep ones, we can't do it. And I've seen Georgie before mow everything, clean to the top of the banks.
Even the trees.
That's neither here nor there.
But it is.
Those same trees need trimmed anyway.
We're mowing in the right of ways, Lee, is what it boils down to at this point. Because it's caused problems mowing outside of those right of ways.
If I get you permission from all the farmers out there to mow the bank, and I'll do that.
That would have to go in front of the board, absolutely.
So the question that I have for that is, if a tree is on a bank and grows over into the right-of-way, because that's really the whole idea when all those side mowers started was you can go right down the right-of-way line and trim everything. Okay, so you want to keep the upper growth back, and I can show you on our road where the upper growth is coming over onto it. So mowing just the bottom is not efficient in my eyes to say that we're not growing over.
Our public works director is directing the mowing of the roads, if that's...
And I don't think you're understanding or hearing what the people are asking.
I'm hearing, I understand exactly what everybody's asking, yep.
I'll get you that permission.
But I agree, because on a lot of where you're pulling out, if those banks aren't mowed back, you can't see. Having it mowed down the bottom does you no good. I agree.
That's the way Miller's Road going down towards 18.
Right.
And them turns, that grass is hanging out like you can't see it.
Yep.
And all the pickup trucks going out to Campbell's Well.
I agree.
Yep.
Anybody else? Any comments? Okay, we'll move on to reports. Do I have a motion to accept the reports?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I move that we appoint Karen Fine as the acting secretary in order to take minutes for this meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to authorize, make a motion to authorize the payment of invoices for a period of 5/28/14 through 6/24/14.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I move that we accept the minutes as reported to us for the May 28th, 2014 meeting.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment.
Okay.
I reviewed the minutes, and I think we need to, as I reviewed them and I looked back and remembered back on the last meeting, and when Rick and Joe and myself about the police contract, there's things that are not in there, or they're in there in such a generalized version, you lose the content of the comment. I'd like to see us expand the minutes so that there's more detail and not such a shortened version.
You thought the last minutes were short, Gary?
Yeah, in looking back at some of the other things that were said, yeah, I think they were a little too generalized.
I think they're pretty long.
I've got 5 pages of minutes.
Unless we want to write them word for word, which
I don't think you
agree
need to write them word for word, but I just think we need to have a little more detail in it. We miss
Keep the tapes.
we miss too much comments.
I would opt for going in the other direction. The Sunshine Act simply said, itemizes 4 things that we need to put down in the minutes. The date, time, and place of the meeting, names of the members present, the substance of all official actions, and a record of individual members and roll call votes, and the names of all citizens who appeared officially and the subject of their testimony. That's all that the Sunshine Act requires.
I'd like to add to that the,
It's not been accurately done.
we're not gonna take any more public comment right now. I'd like to add to that the, Robert's rules, the abbreviated Robert's rules, as well as parliamentary procedure calls for just basic topic of conversation in a meeting, so, in the minutes. So I think these are beyond that. I think we're following everything plus some at this point.
Perhaps though what we need to do is devise a policy that is for Mount Pleasant Township only. And include these 4 things that are absolutely required in the Sunshine Act. And then if we want to go beyond that, we can formulate a policy to identify how it is that things are to be reported.
Maybe along with that, it needs to, need to also revise the agenda order.
That's a possibility too.
So,
Because we can't say anything right now, it's no longer.
The point of minutes is to keep a record of what actions were taken. And that's it.
I understand, I'm just saying that we feel handcuffed because the public comment portion is over and now you're
right,
speaking.
right.
So now we can't say anything.
This,
You can talk later.
we're,
We're not going to make a decision on this right now.
all right, there's been a motion, it's been seconded. Any further discussion? This is to accept the minutes as presented. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
Motion carries 2-1. Gary Forner being opposed.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the Brown subdivision number 1 sewage planning module, subdividing a 23.84 acre parcel off of an existing 94 acre parcel along Route 50 near 1483.
Okay, here you go, there's one for you guys to share, and there's one over here. This one doesn't have all of the corrections, but the planning commission reviewed it, and as we noted on the previous subdivisions, it's currently got all those things that need to be done for a PRD. Planning Commission got the letter from K2 Engineering, and they voted to forego some of those items and request that changes be made. I verified that those changes are made on this Mylar. The only missing item is one signature for one of the owners. The Planning Commission recommends that we pass it contingent upon those corrections being made. I recommend we pass it contingent upon this signature being added before it's signed. Mr. Harris here to answer any questions that you have on the subdivision.
This is it here.
This is the subdivision right here, right?
I think it's right across from Bob's.
Yes. Yes, that's the newly created parcel. Okay.
We'll talk to them one time about what they can do and not could do.
Can take over answering any questions?
Where's access, Gary?
Is there already?
Pardon?
Where's access? That's the drive right there.
Well, they could, if
Here's what it is.
they're gonna have access, they can put it here.
Is this a
Route
road?
50.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's Route 50.
Is this their first meeting?
Okay.
It does give
Is this their
Heather
first
some
meeting?
issue with that access
Here,
before.
lane
I
that
didn't
comes back
even
here.
mention the back before we see what we take care of his house. I understand.
So you're recommending that we sign anything,
Yes,
Get the
to pass it
signatures.
contingent upon these.
what was the changes here?
There was a list of changes. Like scales and maps.
It was the same thing as the last subdivisions where we were doing a simple and our ordinance
Yeah,
only calls out
it
the.
was a this particular case, it was a 2-page deal, and the checked items are the ones that needed to be changed. The rest, the planning commission said, okay, we don't need those for a simple subdivision. And by the way, we are working on the simple subdivision thing. I got that written up, and I got K2's input on it, so that's a separate item.
Okay.
That's moving forward.
I'll make a motion to approve the Brown subdivision pending all the changes are made and the signatures are obtained.
The changes are made.
Okay, the changes are made.
The only missing item is the one
Okay.
signature.
Pending the signature.
That's a revised motion. Densel made the first
Oh, I'm
motion.
sorry.
That's not a problem. I accept that
So
amendment.
you'll rescind your motion. Gary will propose an amended
He can
motion.
make a friendly amendment.
Yeah, of course, I'm happy with that.
Okay,
Not a problem.
I'll second that. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to approve Resolution 214M, a resolution amending the fee schedule to incorporate K2 engineering residential inspection fees.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further questions, discussion?
What all fees changed, Larry? Or was there increases? Did we add fees?
There were some changes to the wording from what K2 does versus what HMT did.
Okay, so
It's
it's
minor, it's very minor in
basically
nature.
bring it in line with K2 from,
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'll make a motion to approve resolution, word O, right? That was M?
And.
That was
N.
in.
Resolution 2014-N, a resolution entering into a holding tank agreement with Dieter Farms located at 1157 Burgettstown Road, Hickory.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Did they just put this in, or is this
It's been
existing?
in, it's been in, and it's taken a while to get the holding tank thing signed, but it's appropriate now.
Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve Resolution 2014-0, a resolution opposing any amendment to Act 13 of 2012 that would reduce the amount of allocation or unconventional gas well fees to municipalities.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'll make a motion to change the street name from Valley View Lane to an extension of Sunrise Lane in the Cherry Valley development.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
I tested that address today with my Garmin, and it took me directly to the residence. But I did discover a problem. When you turn down Lakeview, what is it, Lakeview Drive? When you turn down Lakeview, the Garmin tells you to turn right on Lakeview when it should be turn right on Summer Lane. And Summer Lane then takes you to whatever it is at the top, to Sunrise Lane, and then to Valley View.
If I remember right, that was supposed to be Lakeview all the way, that it was making one big loop.
Lakeside.
Lakeside.
Lakeside, not Lakeview.
It wasn't until they got the okay on the PRD to change that upper phase 4 part.
Right.
And then we had to split it, so.
Because there was an issue with a corner residence a while back.
Yeah.
That was.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah.
I have a sneaking suspicion that if there's going to be, if there's going to be additional problems, it will be as a result of Garmin's instructions to go up Lakeside Drive.
I don't think this is gonna fully correct your problem.
I don't think so either.
Mr. Dugan left a message on my answering machine apologizing, something came up and he couldn't be here. I wanted him to state his case, you know, because it's him requesting it. I did a lot of research on it, calling FedEx and calling UPS. I found no problem, but he still reports that when packages get delivered to him or people try to find him, they're directed somewhere else. So
That was the whole root of whenever that came up, is that FedEx they were going somewhere north of Pittsburgh.
yeah, they were going to Scott Township, apparently.
Scott Township.
That's what was reported to me. But when I called FedEx and UPS, that's not what they said. They called it up and they said, nope, we see it, that's where it is. We don't have a problem on our end. Now, again, I think you need to consider telling him that if this is granted, there's no guarantee that this is gonna fix his problem, and we don't wanna be flip-flopping back and forth. If we do this, let's do it once and we're done.
And done.
Yeah, and if it continues to be a problem, hey,
Well, has he complied with all of the other items that you stipulated that he needed to comply with?
he has not.
So we don't know whether Mr. Guzman is agreeable. We don't know if Alex Paris is agreeable. We don't have any of those.
I have nothing in writing.
Even more than that, the 911 system, because that's where the problems are gonna be. When there's an emergency, that's where the big problems are gonna be.
Yes.
Delivering a package is,
Yes. If you want to table this until he comes and makes his own plea or comes with the writing, with some of those things I suggested, that would be.
Actually, I think it should be.
Yeah, I do too.
Just let it fail.
Yeah, I recommend failure of this motion.
Just let it, yeah. You already have a motion, right, in a second?
motion and second, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Aye.
Nay.
Nay. Motion fails. You were nay?
Nay.
Nay. Unanimous. Okay, unfinished business. We had discussed last month to bring planning commission vacancy names to the table for this meeting. And I don't have any papers on them, but I know there's been 2 applications turned in. Do you have those? Okay.
I have a question, Neva, on the, is this a personnel decision or?
No.
No, okay. Very good.
We have 2 applications. One is Jane Worthington from 135 Main Street in Hickory. The other is from Frank Fiore at 191 Walnut.
Mary Ann sent me this email, and I went back to her. I says, really, why does Bill Orton have to submit another application? He was already on once. So there's already an application on file for Bill
But he
Orton.
resigned, so.
All right.
When you spoke to him, was he interested in it, or?
He said he would entertain the possibility, is the message he left on my phone.
When I talked to him, he told me he was interested, he'd do it. So,
He also told me he was interested when I talked to him,
Okay,
because he and I are friends, but he said that he was looking into conflict of interest because of his job.
okay.
So that's what he was waiting to get back on someone. So you might want to talk to him again before you make a decision, because he's a great candidate.
And I think we have 3 good candidates here. So if that's an option, I would like to give the benefit of the doubt to wait
I agree.
I have no problem.
Okay.
But simply recommend that all three attend the next planning commission meeting.
There you go.
Okay. So we'll reach out to Bill,
All right.
Bill Orton. O-R-T-O-N. So, thanks for your interest.
Yes, indeed. I know.
So you want this on the agenda for the June meeting, Brian, or were you saying,
I would say we do table it
I mean,
till
July?
This is a June meeting.
Yeah,
July
What were you
meeting.
saying about the planning commission? You're just,
There is a planning commission meeting that they probably all, I mean, I think they all have been.
okay.
So
So
I
they could
think-
all attend and,
Right,
Yes, you want
Just
them
to
on the
keep up to
July
speed.
meeting for action.
Right.
Yeah, okay. Do we have a July meeting?
I think there's a July planning commission meeting, right?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
July 7th,
yeah.
first Monday of every month. Subsequent.
okay, so these will go towards the July Board of Supervisors
Yeah, I
meeting,
mean-
okay. Southview Ballfield lease. Do you know if there's anything on the insurance, Karen?
She said she left 2 messages for Jack, and I guess he didn't get back to her, I'm not sure.
When I talked to her, she hadn't heard anything back from him. So if we don't have
Table it.
insurance information, then we need to table it again. Because until we do that, we can't make a,
If Brian, if the insurance, it's really a matter of contacting the insurance company and making sure it gets on your list, your schedule. But my question was, I didn't have any resolution to the tree issue.
right,
So to me, that was the bigger issue than the insurance. I think with the insurance, I don't know why the guy didn't call back, but it just needs to be placed specifically on the schedule because it's not property owned by you.
right.
But to do a lease, I think that tree issue, I only mention it because even if this insurance thing gets resolved quickly, I still don't know what to do about the other issue in
Well,
terms of the lease.
that is another issue, and that was one of the biggest issues.
Yeah, and
the
I didn't
last
have
time.
any notes that was resolved, and I talked to Mary Ann, I don't think it was resolved.
And I don't think
I'm
we have
with
any
you.
costs on what it's gonna be to the township just to get that straightened up to be used either.
Right.
We don't know what all has to be done, so.
No.
No.
So if you want to get that information,
Mhm.
that's my point. That should probably be happening because the insurance thing is just the technicality that we have to contact them and get it on the schedule.
Okay.
But the other two issues require some legwork.
Especially the tree.
Right. The tree I heard to be a big issue.
Mhm. And any future trees or, yeah, we need to specify whether. Okay, so that's
I still don't know what tree it is because we practice there.
in Southview?
Yeah, I still don't know what tree it is because I walked the whole field and there's like a nice area around it that's being mowed and then the residents mow the middle so that we can practice there. And the girls and the boys both practice there and the benches are in deplorable condition. They need new lumber and the fence could be repaired, but I don't see a tree. I just don't know what tree it is.
I was there today,
What's the issue
and I
with the
don't know
tree?
what
I
the
don't
tree is
either.
either.
Maybe
You
someone
know
took
what
the
the tree,
tree?
The
problem
property,
is, DB?
We can't find the tree.
the property butts up,
Seriously.
the property butts up to the houses right behind that ball field. If you're at the backstop,
Okay,
Off to
the
right.
trees directly behind, there's a grove of trees that, those are the ball field. They're owned by the Enosics.
okay.
They border, I mean, they're within whatever the,
12 or 15 feet. probably.
of these houses. So that's where,
Yeah, it's
So
pretty
it's more
close.
than one tree. I mean, it's not a tree, it's,
well,
Several of them there.
It wasn't like,
it was a dead tree.
I was down there with them, so we, looked at that situation. There's trees there, there's always trees there. So I can't see where that's,
Evidently, the neighbor complained
yeah.
to the township or landowner, and that's where we ran into problems. So it is on that property, and
So it sounds like
something's gonna have to be
property line
resolved.
thing, yeah.
Are we entering into a lease with somebody? I mean, or is it on the table somewhere down the road? So I'm just curious if they're already using the property to practice and play on.
Used it this year?
yeah, just the last 2 weeks we've been using
Oh,
it.
yeah, that's not owned by the,
Yeah.
or that's not leased anymore.
Mm-mm,
that
no, we
lease.
just, no, where our team needed a field and that's where we go.
Okay.
So that's,
That's,
and we
just,
meet there pretty
just so
often.
you know, if that landowner
Just
wants to get you
saying,
for trespassing, that's,
I will say that
There's a
field,
crowd.
we do not have a lease on that property.
that field needs a lot of work.
Yeah.
To make it play, more than I can do as a part-time park and recreation. Or maybe guys with shovels. You're gonna have some machinery in there to do it right, the right, material for the infield. Between between home plate and pitcher's mound, there's a mud hole there.
Yeah.
And it's gonna have to have drainage.
I think like,
What I'm saying is to bring it up, it's gonna cost some money. I think.
right. And these are all the things we're gonna have to figure out whenever the insurance comes back, whether, who's gonna do what, so. All right, so we're tabling that.
It stays on the table.
Stays on the table. House numbering ordinance amendment, and I saw a note in there from Larry. I thought I did.
Yeah, Larry ordinance says that the numbers are 3 inches by ½ inch. And shall be of colored materials to be visible from the street. Larry says he doesn't see a problem with it, but Brian Temple, when he sent that copy of the code, the international code, they are 4 inches in height and a minimum stroke width of a ½ inch. So they're same width, but they're bigger.
I think the stroke is the width of the number.
Right.
Not the overall.
No, the width of the number, right. Yeah.
Chief, do you have a comment on that?
Yeah, when we were looking into this and I was out of town and then I hadn't been able to get with Kevin Dry, the fire chief. The cookie cutter, like the international code, which is good, the 4 inches and a ½ inch brush stroke, and I believe it also is Arabic style, is the font that they recommend.
Right.
Is good and has to be reflective. That doesn't always work in our municipality because we have houses that aren't even visible from the road. The discussions that I've had with fire chief is that if it comes to mailboxes, what we'd like to see something added is that the house number be on all 3 sides, like both sides and the front of the mailbox. Because postal code says down one direction because they deliver from one side. We may not be coming from that side of the road, so we don't see it. The other thing is when you have a group of box mailboxes at the end of a long lane, is something at the front, a sign. I reviewed Hanover Township's ordinance. They actually, municipality makes available to the residents at a cost. They require mandate a certain thing in every yard. I believe it's 4 inch, ½ inch, and then it's a sign that gets mounted in front of the yard. But just something that we have verbiage in there that gives us direction sometimes, because you guys are talking about changing road names. It's no different. If you don't have your house marked or you don't have your mailbox marked, you know, we can struggle finding places, and that's been an issue in the past.
So you think the 3 inch by ½ inch would be okay if it was on all 3 sides of a
Well, on a
mailbox?
mailbox, you could probably go smaller. That's what we were trying to determine what we, like, because some of the mailboxes, it's just painted on there and you can't see it. And I think that you need to make sure it's spelled out properly, that it has to be reflective or against a background where it's easily seen, because over time, if something fades, we just can't see it, or the numbers peel off or whatever. So I don't think you'd have to go that big on a mailbox per se, but it would at least, I would say the 3 inch would probably be a little bit too big, but I mean,
I think it's something, if we're gonna standardize, or we should standardize, if it's mailboxes, but there's so many, like Chief said, there's multiple places that have 6 or 7 mailboxes, and there's driveways for the next ½ mile.
Yeah, but if they have them on the front.
But that mailbox isn't at their driveway.
I know.
Doesn't tell what house
Right,
it.
so,
but I mean, if it's at the end, that's where you have to have both covered. Where if it's, look, we use Cully Lane. Cully Lane has a bunch of houses on it. They have a box, 7, 8 boxes at the end on Jacobs. But once you're back in there, all the houses are individually marked
numbered.
as well. So that at least, okay, there's Cully Lane, the houses are back there now. And plus too, when they're marked, and you can see a increase or decrease in the numbers, we know how close we are, you know. If you're going to the 3100 block and you're only in the 1100 block, you know you've got a little bit further to go. So.
And our ordinance reads how now?
3 inch by half inch width.
But it doesn't say where.
Doesn't say where, right?
All right.
Visible from the street.
It doesn't specifically say where, but it does allow for marking on a mailbox, that type of thing. But the problem we have is that people just don't do it. And try to enforce it, well, not enforce it, but ask people to put their house number on, and kind of like pulling teeth. I think half the people are on witness protection. I don't know what's going on.
Well, I think if we were to do something, and there was a lady here from the meeting when this first came up, the post office, the route delivery people, the indication I got was that they would be willing to put stuff on mailboxes. It wouldn't even be postage. They would be on board to help the township get the word out. And there's a, you know, Hanover did a really nice job with a letter even. And it gave a copy of the ordinance and spelled it out, and it basically says, you know, if you're not compliant, you fine. And that's the other thing we really don't.
And I think that's what, do you fine them?
Well, I think you give them,
you need to
you give them a chance. You know, it's like
Right.
anything, there's discretion, you give them a chance, but if you don't have something that has a little bit of teeth,
Right.
then they're never gonna comply.
And most people will comply if you bring it to their attention. And maybe it might be a good idea to have some kind of uniform sign available for the folks who, you know, don't want to go out and buy their own, and get one that we recommend and say, okay, this goes by your driveway.
You said that the Hanover ordinance provided something like that?
Hanover actually, their ordinance actually mandates what they have to have, and it's only available through the municipal office.
Ah, okay.
So they've standardized it to such a degree that you can't even deviate from what's in the ordinance.
I don't know.
That's a little
It's
bit
good
much.
and bad. I don't know if I'm willing to do that.
I think that's a
sure I
bit
wanna
much,
go
but
that far,
I think
but-
if you,
But I
there's a
think,
happy medium in there, I think.
right, I think we standardize on the size of the letters for the mailbox. If it can be on all 3 sides or on all 3 sides of the mailbox, and then standardize on the size of the letters for the house.
Denzel, you should get a copy of that ordinance from Hanover.
I'm sorry?
You should get a copy of the ordinance from Hanover.
We shall?
I have a copy.
Chief has it.
Okay,
Well, then that's what you should follow.
right. Okay.
Any new business?
I don't have any new business, but I want to go back to discussion items, because I got a few things to bring up. Don Reed, I always call him Speedy, was questioning me on how much we paid in attorney fees this year. So I had Mary Ann give me copies of all the attorney bills that have been paid so far in 2014. And the total invoices paid in 2014 have been $75,247.63. So then I went and I said, geez, I wonder where that's at to our budget. Our 2014 budget for labor is $61,000. So my next question is, where do we get that extra money? Where's that extra money coming from? It's, you know, 14,000 some odd dollars. And I have not, I don't think anybody of us has seen a year-to-date budget where we stand, and I think that's something we should get. I'd like to see it monthly. When you do the invoices, they're all coded, so that's all automatically done, right?
Yeah.
So to print out where we are at to budget is pretty simple.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that monthly, so that we know where we're at.
That's not a bad idea.
And you can do a comparative budget, and I'll show you how much, like you spent this much, and how much you spent for the year, and then where you're at the budget, like if you're over, under, or,
And that can be done for every department?
yeah.
Okay.
Every line item.
Every line item.
I think, I
It
mean, when I
can be
looked
done
at
by
that's,
like individual department, or you can just do one.
I just do one. It's only,
It shows all the
what, 4
departments.
pages or something like that. But I think that's something we need to start watching. If this is over by $14,000, So, of course, Speedy's not here.
And there was, just on that, there was a lot of litigation.
Well, it was, I can tell you what, the Goring, Ruther, and Bohm, which is,
The range litigation
yeah, I'm trying to think of his name.
means,
Yeah, Chuck Means, that was $25,126.90. Campbell, Drunt, Beatty, Palumbo, and Miller, that's Chris Gabriel's $20,383.74, and the solicitor's $29,736.99. The other thing I wanted to bring up, we had discussed, and it was in the minutes from last month, about doing the R4 zoning ordinance change at the same time we did the oil and gas. But to do that, didn't that have to be discussed at the public meeting? Or does that just have to be discussed at the hearing we have?
yeah, not at the, you mean the
That was-
town hall?
yeah.
Yeah, well, nothing, that's just an
Okay,
extra
so that-
process.
so that'll- when
come
we
up-
do the hearing,
yeah,
that'll come up then,
yeah.
all right.
Well, you'll get it before the hearing, the
All right.
draft, but then, that's when the public comments on it.
And I do have another question, except I gotta find it here. When I was reviewing the attorney bills, the latest bill from Chris Gabriel on 5/8 of 2014. It says telephone conversations with manager, which I guess is Mary Ann's solicitor, which is Neva, and elected supervisors regarding police issue and providing feedback relative to tentative agreement issue and discussions about a police department providing legal advice regarding these issues. Were you on that call?
What was the date?
5/8.
I don't think it was one call.
No.
Yeah, like, I don't think it was one call.
No, I don't think it was a conference call.
Yeah, I know it wasn't, because I wasn't on a conference call.
Okay. If you read that, it kind of says that it's a conference call, and I just want to know why I was never told there was a conference call.
No, I'm sure,
Yeah, I know there wasn't a conference
so I
call.
wasn't on conference.
Okay,
I don't know if I talked to him on that day or not.
okay. That's all I have.
On your R4, I know the school board, a couple of the members have talked about having input in this, and I had told them that they needed to come to that they had another meeting that night, the town hall meeting. But I think they do have something that they want to input in there. But along with that, they were asking about the comprehensive plan, and I know we talked about that before this new board took effect, working with that as well. Is that something we still want to look at trying to work in here somewhere?
I think we had decided that we did need to do that, but we were going to get this oil and gas out of the way first.
Right.
I have
As I recall.
one quote that came in this week. The other two should be in by the end of the week or possibly next week sometime.
Okay.
So we'll have 3 quotes to compare.
So do you guys want to try to get through it completely or get the meat of it, or how do you want to, once we get these quotes in?
What do you mean?
I guess I'm just asking if,
A date.
could some of that be worked on at the same time and not have to go back and revisit parts that were already taken care of? If we get these quotes in, do we want to try to, obviously these 2 items are up front, but do we want to try to bring this in somewhere in the middle of this? Or do we want to wait till it's completely
What's the
done?
planning commission?
If I can comment on that real quick, I mean, with the comp plan, if you have 3 quotes coming in, I would suggest moving forward with the comp plan with whoever you select to do that, because the upfront in that comp plan is you're gonna have a lot of demographics, a lot of background information that really has nothing to do with zoning. And a lot of the comp plan has nothing to do with zoning. It's looking at land use patterns now and land use patterns in the future. So if you get all the quotes in, I think the quotes should be reviewed and check references and whoever the quotes are from and move forward with that. Because I know in the, well, that's back to what, the 2012 Act 13 money, that there was an allocation for that. And then if it was above that, which was probably, our anticipation when we came to you was it would probably be a little bit more than what we had asked for. That then we could ask for a little bit additional out of the 2013 money. And now we're already into 2014.
And that brings up the point of why I'm asking, because I know with the sewage project and with this comprehensive plan coming up, it's going to have to happen here sooner than later. So,
Yes.
And budget will sneak up very quick. So,
And I know the municipal authority needs some money for mapping.
Right.
Post haste.
right. So that's why I would like to see if we can, once these quotes get in, if we can start putting this master plan all
You have
together.
them in time for the planning commission meeting?
I'll make some calls tomorrow to make sure I can see if I can hurry them in.
Because they should review it.
Got it. It's kind of on our agenda, for on the planning commission agenda, so.
Okay,
Okay.
do that. Speaking of the Act 13 money, we've talked a couple months about scheduling meetings to discuss and disperse and decide what we're going to do with that. And we haven't done anything yet.
Got some new. Yep. Got some new money in.
Yep,
Well, I know.
Yep.
yep. And I think we've got some good projects to put it towards. So is there a time you guys want to
I
meet?
think you have to, I think you're going to have to advertise it as a meeting and take public comments on it. too,
Kinda
and
do-
get their input.
The way we did it the first time?
Absolutely.
Sounds good.
So that'll be at your next meeting? Your July meeting?
It can either be before that, we could do an hour before the meeting. Would you need to be here for that part of it?
Probably not.
So we could do it before that meeting? What's the date on that?
No, there is a problem with the July meeting. I may not be in town.
Okay.
That, let me see,
My meeting is the 23rd.
23rd. Actually, I was gonna, I'll know better. I was gonna see if we could maybe either move that meeting to a week later, because there's still another Wednesday in the month, it'll be the 30th.
I make the suggestion that we bring us up to speed to with what funds are available and how they've been distributed, to, you know, where it's at, so we kind of know where we're balanced out.
Right.
What we have.
I think when we hold that meeting, we'll have all that
Yeah, that's-
information.
Yeah, because I know there was just a report sent out
Yeah,
that said all that.
because next month's meeting's the 23rd, and I'm pretty sure I won't be here. But if we moved it to the 30th, which would be the 5th Wednesday, then we could all be here. Or at least, in my opinion, I could be here.
I don't have anything scheduled on the 30th. Nothing on my schedule for the 30th.
To date, I don't either. We have to advertise that,
We'd have to advertise that.
Right, yeah.
but if we're advertising the other one,
Gonna have to advertise it anyway.
get a double
Yep.
whammy.
And it will have to be advertised before the regular meeting, will it not?
Yes,
Do from
you have to do it to
6 to 7,
6 to 7,
have your regular meeting 7 to...
7, yeah.
You can just advertise it and just say it that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would that schedule work for you for the 30th?
I have no idea, but I'll make it work.
Okay.
Hadn't contemplated that.
Will you know for certain
I'll know.
sometime soon?
Yeah, I'll know
Okay.
tomorrow.
But you won't need me early for anything.
No.
Just the regular, it'll be a regular meeting.
So you're talking July 30th?
July 30th.
Just prep time, that's fine.
Right, because then we have August.
Next week.
Typically, the budget paperwork is due September, so that,
Yeah.
like I said, with all that stuff happening, that'd probably be jump on it and get going.
my understanding, the last negotiation session with the road crew was canceled?
Yes. And I'm waiting to hear another date, so.
What I heard was because Mary Ann and you couldn't be there.
Yeah.
But if that's the case, couldn't Chris still come and another board member go? I mean, I hate to not hold these. Let's try and get this thing going.
He can't do it himself unless you authorize him. So
Right,
you
that's
guys
the only
have to
problem,
work it out.
having a couple, and it's not costing us anything by not having it. It's just,
Well, we're not getting any closer to an agreement to get it all wrapped up either.
Goodwill.
right, we've offered a closure to it, and it's not been accepted, so that's where we're at this point.
And nothing's been set up with the police yet either.
But at the same time, I don't know that we've, that it's not because of the union, the dates. I don't know, I haven't heard anything from anybody. There was one date thrown at me and I said I could be there at a certain time and I didn't hear anything back, so.
Why not, according to Amanda, they've not been contacted by Chris to even set anything up.
No.
No.
And there's deadlines, so it'll have to happen.
Sooner the better though.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Larry, we don't have anything, do we? Do we need to discuss that? Oh,
Yeah,
There's
just
much to
one quick
discuss.
item.
oh, well, boy,
You'll
I've
be able
made
to
all
have
my
a better
calls,
idea
trust
for
me.
project audit by that date.
Mark West called.
Yeah, that's, I wrote it down to myself to make sure that our meeting next week, that I get a proposal
And
together.
I'll tell you right now, I don't believe any of them.
Get an idea where it's at.
They told me that it was
The scary
literally
thing is they
mailed
gave
from
us a
Donald
project
Saxon's
budget,
office,
like
overnighted to Fulton to sign.
retainer, they wanna do a retainer.
Oh, yeah.
That's what they said, and they blamed it all on Donald Saxon.
Over 18 months.
Would you believe me, I think he's a problem.
Start biting.
Just like, or something.